Welcome back, it's FNUSA57 here. I'm back on my Xbox One, and today I will be bringing you yet another achievement guide. We'll actually cover how to get 2 achievements in the game Minion Masters. So this has been out for a little under a month now, and I will be showing you how to get the Spell Slinger achievement, where you have to play 5 spell cards in a row during a ranked match and then win. It's a rare achievement. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to make a deck with at least 5 spell cards in it and then wait to get those all in your hand and play them. Or you're going to need to make a deck that is nothing but spell cards. So as you can see right here, I have a deck that is almost nothing but spell cards. And you should be able to do this relatively pretty early in the game. I would recommend that you do try to do this as early as possible while you're a lower rank, because that will make it easier for you to be matched against weaker opponents that you should be able to defeat easier. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to select cards that have the classification of spell on them. There's a ton of different ones in the game, and like I said, I'm level 16 starting this, so after I'd say about maybe 20 to 30 wins, you should have more than enough spell type cards. Now there is also a achievement associated with crafting a rare or better card, and we'll get that achievement here in a second because I don't have enough copies of spell cards. And unfortunately, you must have all the slots in your deck filled in order to actually play with that deck. Now, I'm going to go ahead and select a couple copies of the same card, but as you can see, I'm not able to actually queue up with that deck since it's missing 2 cards. As far as masters go, I'm just going to use the default starting master. If you did spend money, then there are some better masters that would make this easier to do. There's a couple that feed off of casting spells, so it's really up to you. If you have the rubies or you have the shards and you can craft one just for the achievement, or you already have them unlocked from like the Minion Masters pass, it's up to you. This one is really good. The Arcane Witch or whatever they call her, because basically her golems power up off of casting spells. I would also recommend you do this in a team match. It doesn't have to be Conquest. I just happened to have Conquest picked because I was working on that at the time. So now I showed you it wouldn't let me start the game with only having those 2 spell slots or card slots open. So now what you have to do is you have to go ahead and figure out a copy of a spell card that you don't have in there or that you have extras of. There are some spell cards, like I have this little UFO blast looking thing, and I happen to have 2 copies of that card, so I can go ahead and add that card in. Now, unfortunately, I don't have any other spell cards, so I have to craft one. I should note that spell cards that say spell as the classification, but then they do something like summoning a different type of minion or something, those are okay to use. As long as the card is classified spell, you're fine. I would recommend that you do this in a co-op or team battle because it will make your life easier. So you can go into the card menu, go into crafting, and then you can cycle through and see the different cards and what they do. Now, I wanted to get the achievement for crafting a rare card at the same time, so I'm going to go and find one of these cards that is classified as a spell card, but is also a rare card or a blue card, and then I will be able to unlock that achievement for crafting the rare card as well. You don't have to do this. You could just throw a random minion card in there as long as you note that you need to cast those 5 spells in a row and then win. So I'm going to cast this little rampage spell. I'm going to use it, make it. it cost 125 of the shards. You just seen the achievement unlock, the rare crafter. So pretty easy. Not really hard at all to get that achievement. That was super simple. But now we're going to go ahead and add it to the deck. And I hit the B button one too many times there. But go ahead and select it. Now we've got it in the deck. We've got a full deck, so we can go ahead and search for a match. Now, I should mention that this may take several tries, so just keep that in mind. It doesn't always work on the first try because this is heavily dependent upon your teammate if you're doing it in a team battle, and it is heavily dependent upon what type of masters the enemy team is using. Because the spells that I have during this, they're relatively weak, and depending on how your luck is, or if you spent money, or how many matches you played, you might not have the best spell cards either. So a all spell deck without a master that is designed to feed off of spells can be pretty difficult to use. I chose the default master because he was the best out of the ones that I had available. And then I'm just going to kind of play out these spells. I have like the one for who the bell tolls. That gives me the random skeleton enemy. And I'm kind of going to let my teammate work with deploying the monsters. Now, if you're working with a friend, that's perfect because working with a friend, you can coordinate. This was just a random person I found, and luckily he was pretty decent and the enemies weren't that good. So basically you want to focus on letting your friend deploy the minions, and you want to counter the minions coming towards you, and then when you have a chance, do direct damage to the enemy tower. Because spells you can cast, for the most part, anywhere on the field. So I have that rampage spell. You want to cast that on your friendly minions, and then you kind of want to just keep more control by using your damaging spells. Unfortunately, it's not, in my opinion, as effective if you're playing a solo match. It's almost impossible unless your opponent is really bad and saving for like extremely powerful enemies or powerful units. But if you're just playing, yeah, you want to do this in a team battle. It's so much easier. And with a friend is even 10 times easier than that because you can coordinate and build. So this match I got fairly decent opponents. Like you can see, we're trading back and forth. You want to try and keep the bridges as much as possible. So if you do have a spell in your deck that summons a minion, you do want to try and use that where you can to actually take control over those bridges. You'll notice I do have this 2-drop Void Gate spell. I don't really like it because you're basically playing cards for the enemy team, but it's not terribly bad in a pinch to take over a bridge or something like that. I've also got my teammate who's playing as a melee master, so he's really good at taking out the enemies that spawn or get to the master towers. And then he's taking care of playing the actual minion cards while I save my mana to play the spell cards and deal direct damage to the enemy tower. Also, the default master's first skill is pretty nice for us for doing this because he can hit everything anywhere on the map. Regardless of where it is, he can hit it. He'll only hit one target at a time, but he can hit stuff close to us, mid-range. He can even hit the enemy tower if there's no other minions present. Now, if you have stunning spells would be probably the most beneficial to you in this situation. I didn't really have that many to work with because I wanted to get this achievement done as early as possible. So I'm not really providing as much to my team as I possibly could, but having the rampage spell and mostly the ability to destroy groups of enemies is pretty important. Now you do want to be careful with what spells you use and make sure that you try to time them to hit as many units as possible. Like I just used my shock spell to go ahead and wipe out that entire horde, which gives us a lot of control. And then just pay attention to the enemies that the other Minion Masters are deploying. Make sure that you're not wasting a powerful spell like a meteor spell or a fireball spell on enemies that are shielded. As long as you get a little bit lucky, have a good team, play smart, you'll unlock the achievement. So there you go. There's the Spell Slinger achievement. 25 gamer score. It is a rare achievement with about a 2.4% unlock rate currently. And I did show you how to get the rare crafter achievement. Now, because you just built a deck, there is an achievement for building 3 decks, and you get 1 deck to start. Now you just built a second deck for spells, so if you build 1 more deck when you're done, then you'll go ahead and unlock that 3rd achievement. So as long as you win, you'll see the achievement unlock, and then you get your regular reward screen after that. I happen to be playing Conquest, so I got Conquest points. You don't have to do it in Conquest, but I recommend doing it in Team Battle. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to ask. I will do my best to help you out. If you liked the video, make sure you smash the like button and share it with your friends, as that greatly helps out with the searchability of videos here on YouTube. Until next time, make sure you subscribe for more content, and stay frosty.